Hey, hi. Good morning, Pastor. How are you? Are you able to hear me?
Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. So, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Okay, so seems other people couldn't make it. It's okay. Okay, so the thing that we need to talk about, the thing is enterprise manager. So that is what all these days we are waiting for. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, Enterprise Manager is a utility which we would be using in order to manage our databases. And the things have been changing for this Enterprise Manager over the versions. So, we can have a look at what is there in 8a, 9a, and all, and then we can come back and we can discuss about the latest things. So basically, Oracle felt we require a utility or we require a tool which would be useful in order to manage our databases over through the graphical interface as well. So if you look at the things what we have seen in our course, so all the time we connected to putty session and we use it to do the things only for some tasks like the database creation and all or listener creation. We use it to depend on the tools like DBCA and HCA, but most of the work we use it to do like through the SQL Plus sessions. So instead of connecting to that SQL Plus session and doing the things, Oracle thought of doing it with the help of a graphical interface. So the primary reason for this could be, this is just my guess that I am thinking of, could be that the other competitive RDBMS vendors are providing the graphical interface. For example, if you take SQL Server, so completely entire management can be done with the graphical interface. They use something called SQL Server Management Studio, and through that even they can build a standby database also. So they can do everything. So I mean, taking that into consideration, might be Oracle also started, giving this kind of things. So in 8i, it used to give a standard tool. So that time, the name has been called as Oracle Enterprise Manager. So of course, even still today, we call it as same, but instead of calling it as Oracle Enterprise Manager, nowadays we are calling only Enterprise Manager. So what we use it to have basically in 8i is, for example, we have a database server and we have a database hosted there. For this, we use it to have some kind of a tool, like just like a DBCA, and you invoke the DBCA interface. So we use it to invoke the Enterprise Manager interface, and we use it to get a pop-up something like this. And from there we use it to manage the database, or I say administration the database. Like you can perform the startup and shutdown of the databases, or you can create the table spaces and you can add the data files and all, or you can create the users and you can assign the privileges, etc. So like this you can you use it to be doing the administration task over here. So this one thing is, this tool will be exclusively, or this window what we are talking is all exclusively for only for this database. So suppose in my environment I have multiple databases like database 1, then database 2, etc. So for each and everything we use it to have a separate window. So it is not a single window which can manage all the databases. For each and every database we use it to have a separate window. So this has been a little bit enhanced in 9i, and 9i got introduced with the URL mode, in which if your database is hosted on one particular server and within the same network, if you are having a machine, from that machine you can provide the URL of the enterprise manager. So you will be getting something like a web address. So you will be typing something like HTTP and the web address what you have been given by the database. So then you would be getting the same window what we used to get in 8i in a browser in 9i. So the thing is, in 8i it is a tool based utility or tool based component, whereas when comes to 9i it has been enhanced to use a browser. So from the browser itself you can be able to do all the tasks what I have mentioned there. But here also the problem is for each and every database the URL will be different. So if you are having some 500 databases or 1000 databases in your environment, then for each and every database they use it to be a separate URL. So managing again would be a little bit tough. So this has been completely enhanced in 10G, and 10G where G stands for grid control. So this is where the major enhancement to Enterprise Manager has been done. So what Oracle enhanced is, instead of having multiple windows or multiple browsers to manage the databases, why can't we have a single window or a single uh, you know uh, browser which can manage all the databases in my environment? So which means you don't require to have separate browsers or separate windows. All your databases, how many you have, can be configured into a single enterprise manager window, and from there itself you can do all the administration. So just to give an idea, something like suppose this is your browser. On the left hand side you will be given with all the database names like database 1, database 2, database 3 and all. So the moment you click on database 1, its details will pop up in here in this right hand side window. So and from there you can do all the administration work. So the same thing when you click on database 2, in the same place on the right hand side you will get the details of database 2, and from there you can manage it. So because you can manage all your databases in a single interface, we call that as a grid. And enterprise manager name can also be called as grid control in 10G. So just like if you see an electrical grid, electrical grid will be connected to the substations, and substations will in turn connect to the electrical grid will connect to the stations, main stations, and then will to substations. Then it will connect to transformers and then the house connections. So how all the house connections will connect to a transformer, one single transformer. So it is of also the same concept, like multiple databases connecting to a single grid control machine. So this is what has been introduced in 10G. Same, it continued in 11G as well. And when it comes to 12C, the enhancement that Oracle has brought in is it can go with the database which was hosted in cloud machines. So now when Oracle introduced this 12c Enterprise Manager, cloud was not that much popular. So, but nowadays, as you know, people are showing more interest in cloud computing. So even the databases not only hosted on the physical server or virtual servers, but the databases hosted on the cloud machines as well can be configured, and they can be managed by a single interface. So that's why in 10G and 11G we use it to call it as Grid Control Enterprise Manager, whereas in 12C we are going to call it as Cloud Control Enterprise Manager because we can manage that as well. But things wise or installation wise and all, it remains same. So there are no major differences. And few years back, Oracle has introduced 13C Cloud Control or 13C Enterprise Manager as well. And in that again we have two versions, release 1 and release 2. So latest one is release 2, and of course the latest one is release 3 as well. But this has been released very recently, so not yet fully implemented in real-time environments. So as of now, some of the real-time environments are using 13C release 2 or 13C release 1. For example, in my environment, we are using 13C release 2. So the enhancement what Oracle has brought in between 12C Enterprise Manager and 13C Enterprise Manager. And remember one thing, this is only Enterprise Manager version, not the database version. So database, as you know, still there in 12C only. So we don't have 13C database yet. So this is only Enterprise Manager version that we have. So what Oracle is having is generally when it has one version of database, it will release the next version of Enterprise Manager. For example, when 10G database is there, it has introduced 11G Enterprise Manager. And when 11G database is there, it has introduced 12C Enterprise Manager. And similar way, when 12C database is there, now it has introduced 13C Enterprise Manager. So it is having that kind of nature in releasing the Enterprise Managers. So the enhancement what Oracle has made between 12C and 13C Enterprise Manager is 13C Enterprise Manager can also not manage, I say monitor the non-Oracle RDBMS. So Oracle databases anyway it can do the monitor as well as manage. So I will talk about what is monitoring and what is managing. So now Enterprise Manager, as you can see, it can perform two things. One is monitoring and the second one is managing. Now what is mean by monitoring? So when you have huge number of databases, and before starting off with that, let me tell you one point that this Enterprise Manager thing is benefitable only when you are having huge number of databases in your environment. Suppose if we are having only 10 databases or 20 databases in the environment, it may not be that much useful. So when you have only 50 plus or 100 plus databases, then this would be very good, or this will be very helpful for us. So now coming to the monitoring part, as you know, when you have 100 plus databases or 500 plus databases, we don't know in which database what alert will come at what time. So, obviously there could be some table space issues could be there, or there could be some user related issues, or there could be some Oracle errors in alert logs. So we can't keep on checking each and every database daily, for that. So what we do, is we are going to configure some alerts, through this Enterprise Manager. So how this will work, I will explain it later part. But that is what majorly we do with Enterprise Manager. We basically monitor each and every database for every action. Like As I said, if there is any Oracle error reported in alert log, then through Enterprise Manager, we can able to see that. Or if some database is having a table space issue, we can be able to monitor it from the Enterprise Manager. So this is what basically monitoring means. Now, because this is a product of Oracle, Oracle also provides you the option of managing those alerts. In the sense, suppose I see that some database is having a table space issue. So instead of connecting to that database server, for let's say, I have this table space issue in database 3 and it has been popped up in the Enterprise Manager screen saying that in database 3, some table space, let's say data TBS, is reaching 90% full. So, in order to suffice this alert or in order to take necessary action, I have the option that I need to connect to this database 3. I need to log into this server. Then I need to manually connect to that SQL plus and run the command in order to increase the size or add a data file, whatever it is. But instead of doing that by connecting to that server, you can do that from the Enterprise Manager itself. You don't need to log into the server and do the things. From here itself, you will be seeing an options like, add data file. There will be simple buttons, add data file or resize data file and all. So through which you will be able to do the necessary action. So this we call it as managing or administrating. So monitoring is only, observing what is happening in the database. Managing is taking the necessary action. So in 13C Enterprise Manager or 12C or 11G, whatever be the version, through Enterprise Manager, you can manage and monitor all the Oracle databases. When it comes to 13C, the enhancement is you can even monitor non-Oracle RDBMS, which means suppose in your environment you have SQL Server databases or you have some Teradata databases or you have some other RDBMS databases. You can even configure them in your Enterprise Manager in 13C and you can only monitor. So you cannot manage them because still the component, I mean the products are from two different companies. SQL Server is from Microsoft and Enterprise Manager is from Oracle. So Microsoft will not allow the third party tool in order to interfere or do the administration. So but the advantage is you can monitor even non-Oracle RDBMS through your Enterprise Manager itself. So it acts like a single interface for all the DBAs in the organization. So every DBA can use the same interface and they can monitor it. Of course, if you are an Oracle DBA, you can manage it. But if you are an other non-Oracle DBA, then correspondingly you need to log into that server and you need to take the action. So this enhancement, what we have is in 13C Enterprise Manager. So any questions you have?
So this is only available in release 2, or even in release 1 we have this.
You mean to say this monitoring the non-Oracle RDBMS?
Yeah, for non-Oracle guys.
Yeah, it is there
And
in release 1 as well.
okay, okay.
Okay, so the next thing is now how this enterprise manager will work. Basically, what we are going to do, in order to configure this. So here the things. So it will be like, as I said, you will be having multiple database servers. So it depends on the things, how many database servers you have. So as you know, sometimes what we do in one server itself, we'll create multiple databases, or in some cases we will create a single database in single server. So we do either way, as you know. Suppose I have, in my environment, I have the things like this. Like some databases are hosted only on, single server. Like I mean to say, one server, one database concept. And in some servers, I have two databases hosted, like you can see in this third diagram. And in some servers, I have three or four databases hosted, here. So whatever be the way, we are going to, let's say I call the names here. So server 1, server 2, server 3, server 4 and on. So what we do basically to configure this enterprise manager is we are going to do two things. Number one, we are going to configure something called OMS server. We call that as Oracle Management Server. And number two, we are going to configure agents in the database servers. So I will come to that OMS part later. So coming to configuring the agent, so it is exactly similar to the concept of client server architecture that we have seen, uh, during networking with Oracle. So during that time, if you remember, we talked about installing Oracle client in the application server, and then using that Oracle client software we connect to the database server. So similar concept was there here. So if this is your Oracle management server, then in each and every server that you have, suppose here I have taken example of four servers. So in each and every server, I need to install something called Enterprise Manager Agent. And remember, this is server level, installation. So it's not database level installation. So it's server level installation, which means if I install Enterprise Manager agent in this server number 4, automatically with the help of that agent, I can monitor all these three databases. So I don't require to install individually in database 4, database 5, and database 6. So as I said, it is at server level, we'll be doing the installation. So once we have this enterprise manager agent is installed, so then once we configure this OMS server, then the connectivity will happen between these two, the agent as well as the OMS server. And with that connectivity, that monitoring and everything is possible. So if anything, all the information, so all the time this enterprise manager agent will be up and running, and any information, any minute information with respect to database will be pushed onto this OMS server. Now, before going for that, one more point is, suppose if we have less number of servers, then connecting to that particular server and installing the enterprise manager agent is okay. But if you have huge number of servers, let's say in your environment you have the server count itself is 1,000, then connecting to each and every server and installing the agent over there, and then setting up the things will be little bit complicated, or it's a time taking process. So instead of that, Oracle has also given the facility that you can configure these agents, or you can install these agents from the OMS server itself. So for that, first you need to configure the OMS server, and after that you need to just list down all the server names. So in your environment, whatever the server names you have, so you need to list down all the server names. And generally, when you have those many huge number of servers, you will be maintaining a single username password, the OS level user I am talking about. So you need to provide that OS username and password. And the moment you provide this OS level username and password, like for example, generally we use the OS level username as Oracle and its password. So the moment you provide that, this OMS server itself will push the agent installation to all these servers. So you don't require to connect each and every server and do it. So automatically your OMS server itself will push the agent installation to all the servers, and if any failure is there, then automatically it will recognize that failure as well and it will report it to you. So that way also, the enterprise manager agent installation will work. And basically, I say this is more easier process than connecting to each and every server and doing the installation. Uh, because we'll be upgrading the agents also. So generally what happens is uh, agents also will have the versions like 12C and 13C. So if you are going with that agent version upgrade, let's say right now you are using 13C release 1 agent and you want to upgrade to 13C release 2 agent. So you don't do that by connecting to each and every server here. You will be just pushing that from the OMS server itself. And as I said, wherever it is successful or wherever it is not successful, it will report you those situations. So that is how the agents will be configured. Now coming back to this OMS server, what will be there in the OMS server? So OMS server can be divided into two components basically. One is the Oracle Management Server. So OMS is basically stands for Oracle Management Server. So as I said, you will be using a graphical interface, Enterprise Manager, in order to manage all your databases in the organization. So to invoke this graphical interface, you need to have some web services up and running. Because whenever we say it is a URL based, so obviously it depends on web browser. So we need to have web services and all those things up and running. So that will be configured in this Oracle Management Server. So all the web services and other related things. Now, uh, as I said, whenever you install the agent is going to capture the information of each and every database and it will send it to this OMS server. Then OMS server need to store that information somewhere. So for that, we are going to create a separate database, which we generally call it as repository database. So in this repository database, whatever the information that we have been receiving from all the other databases will be stored over there. So every information what is coming to this OMS server will be stored in this particular database. So the huge size, I mean, it need to be allocated with the huge size because if you have 1,000 databases, daily you will be getting information in GBs. So the growth also will be very fast. So accordingly, you need to manage the space as well. And also because it is storing all your environment database information, it is important that you need to maintain a BCP solution. Like you can configure the standby database or you can configure this as a cluster database in order to have good performance and all those things. So that is what basically these are the two components that we will be having in Oracle Management Server. So coming to the license part, yes, of course we require a separate license, even in 10G as well. So we require a separate license in order to have this Oracle Management Server usage. And license cost and all depends on how many databases you want to configure and how many agents that you are going to install and all those things. So what we are going to do now is we are going to configure this repository database first, and then we are going to install Oracle Management Server software on top of that, and then we see how we can manage the things from the Enterprise Manager screen. Now to do that, we have different things over here. Like for example, what kind of softwares and all we require. So as I said, first we need to configure the repository database. And one more thing is either you can have both the Oracle Management Server plus repository database in a single server, or you can configure it separately. You can install OMS related components in a separate server, and you can maintain the repository database also in a separate server. It's up to us that we decide how we want to go. But generally in real time, we maintain in two different servers so that the things will not be impacted. So what are all the things that we require for our practice is, of course, we are using a VMware machine, and for this, we are going to do both the things in a single one, like OMS configuration, as well as we are going to have the repository database also in the same server. So because we require both to be there in the same server, the ideal RAM size that we require for that VMware machine is 10 GB. If you can allocate more than this, then it would be pretty fine. But ideally it is expected to have 10 GB. Now, this is one of the major problems for practicing this enterprise manager things in the own machines, laptops or desktops, because maybe your laptop is not equipped with this 10 GB. You may have only 8 GB in your laptop. So that is where the things will be. So I have tried different options here. So I practiced with the different sizes, like by allocating the 4 GB, then by allocating 6 GB, 8 GB, and 10 GB. So the thing over here is if you are using 4 GB, if you allocate 4 GB to this VMware machine, then your installation will never complete. So after certain installation will start, but after certain time it will fail. Uh, Not even it will fail, it will just hang at a particular percentage. So that's the reason 4 GB is not at all recommended. Now you can go with 6 GB. So if you are going with 6 GB, the installation will take a minimum of 2 days. So you need to make sure no power disconnection, nothing happens in these 2 days, then yes, installation will be successful. Or if you are going with 8 GB, then your installation might get complete in some 8 to 10 hours of time. So that is what I observed. And if I go with the 10 GB RAM, then it would take some 4 to 5 hours of time. So because it is a VM machine, if it is a physical server also, it would take 2 to 3 hours of time because it need to install a lot many things. So That is what exactly it is. Now, uh, like one more thing is maybe as I said in your laptop, maybe you don't have this 10 GB RAM available, because if you have 16 GB in your laptop, then you can allocate 10 GB happily. But if your laptop itself is equipped with 8 GB, then it would be tough to go with 8 to 10 hours of installation. So what you can do is you can go with renting a server. Uh, you know, so there are some companies which provide renting services for us. For example, this is one thing. Mm, just a moment. Okay, this is server hosting. So there are many companies who can provide you renting a server. Even you can pay for 1 or 2 days, or you can pay for 1 week, something like that. Even Google will do that. So they are basically cloud servers, as you know. So through that, also you can be able to practice. And I remember in GoDaddy website, they use it to provide some 30 days free trial period or something. Okay, so it's talking about only hosting. Anyway, somewhere I saw that one. So using that as well, we can you can rent for a week or so, and then we can be able to do the practice. So I mean, some trial version things are also there, so you can try to check with in Google, which are providing some free trial periods. So within the trial period you can be able to complete the task. So that is what basically about the RAM size. And coming to the hard disk size, it is ideal to have 250 GB of hard disk, if not minimum of 200 GB of hard disk. So this is the ideal hard disk size that we require. So these are the two major things in order to practice this OMS in our machines. So that is about it. So any questions before we start with the practicals?
So this OMS and repository database, it's the responsibility of the DBA to do it.
Yes, exactly. It would be the responsibility of DBA itself. Two things are, it depends on some environment. For example, if you take in my environment, there is a separate team. We call it as infrastructure team. So they are responsible, though they are also DBS only, but they are only responsible for this managing this OMS server and the agents. So, or in some environments, a normal DBA itself need to do the task. So yes, it falls under the responsibility of the DBA itself.
Okay.
Okay, so I have taken one machine. I started doing the installation of Linux 7.4. So I have taken the same configuration, like 10 GB RAM and 250 GB hard disk. So installation got complete. Let's reboot, then we can be able to log in. I'm going to just take the IP address. Okay, so here is my IP address. So I'll just minimize this and I will start using putty. So the allocation hard disk, as I said, you require 200 or 250 GB. So out of which you require 50 GB minimum for root file system, because you would be requiring huge temp space as well. So that's the reason 50 GB would be pretty much good. And for U01 alone, I have allocated 150 GB because there itself will be installing the OMS server, and there itself will be configuring the database home also, Oracle home also. And U02 I have allocated 50 GB and I will use this only to store the software. So that is how the things are. And as I said, this is a 10 GB RAM machine. So first we go with the database configuration. So we need to first install Oracle 12c database software, and then we need to create a database. But before creating a database, we have a small step. We'll see that one as well. So this installation is same. So I'm not explaining this. I'm just proceeding with the steps because these are the same steps that we have been doing. So these are all kernel parameters, as you know. So then we are going to install the M packages. So some process is already running. For M, I am just killing that. Now we can go ahead with the packages. Okay, so this one is done. Then so all the things are done. Now we need to copy the software. So I am invoking WinSCP. So I'm copying the software to U02. Okay, software has been copied. So unzip is done. Now I will invoke X Manager. Oops, okay. So yeah, actually I forgot to give swap space. It's okay. It is just so I'm installing only software because database creation can be done later. Okay, so it is only talking about the swap space. I'm just ignoring it. And actually I should have given that, but I forgot. It's okay. Let's see. Okay, so it asked us to execute those scripts. Oh, sorry. Okay, so the installation is done. Now we need to set the bash profile. Okay, so after the installation, now we need to create a database, but creating a database here is little bit different. So normally we'll be using DBCA and we'll be creating the database. But here what we do is we download something called a database template. And using that template, we'll be creating a database here. So we can just type in Google 13C Enterprise Manager template download. So the moment we type that, we'll be getting this one. So this is for 13C release 1. You can see the version as 13.1, and this is for 13C release 2, which we are looking for. So I am opening this, and here you will be having templates for two things. One is what I say, container and pluggable database, or a regular 12C database. So you'll be having it for both. For example, this is the regular one, and this is the CDB PDB one. Now let me. Okay, fine. So small thing that I have done is I have taken the database version as 12C release 2, but whereas the supported version for the enterprise manager is still, I mean, for the repository database, I am saying, is 12102. So might be, even if I download this, I will not be able to create the database because my software version is different and this one is different. Anyway, so let us do one thing. Let us stop here for today, and tomorrow, by the time we start the class, I will make this 12102 software get installed, and then we will download this template, and we will see how to create the database, and we will see the next steps, how to configure OMS and all. And one more thing is there is one web page or article which will help us in going with this 13C cloud installation successfully. So I'll just send this URL to your mail ID as well, so that you can also go through this one. So it talks about all the things like installing OS level installation till the last one. So it talks about everything. So you can just have a look what we are going to do here. So any questions before we close? Okay, so then let us meet at the same time tomorrow and we'll continue.